First of all, I'll choose this title of data governance and infrastructure readiness for agentic AI. Right now, the most of the webinars I would say that I attended, it's about 90% related to AI and agentic AI. And if you are not mentioning AI in your webinars or conference speech, you are just not allowed to present it. So it won't be an exception. And let me start a bit, a few words about myself. My name is Tsivyna. I'm Information Security and AI Manager at Star Global. Currently, I have about 14 years of experience in software development and quality assurance engineering manager. Lately, about 4 years ago, I switched mostly to the information security and adopting AI and governance of AI. Currently, I help our clients to build a secure, reliable solution that comply with different markets, different industry regulations, and safety requirements. So I intentionally choose this topic because in today's reality, we see that the world is moving with adoption and using different AI solutions. And right now, beyond chatbots and supportive AI, into something fundamentally different. I'm talking about different autonomous agents, and they can reason, plan, take actions across multiple systems at once. But while working in a software development company and with implementing such kind of project for our clients, I noticed a significant gap between the hype surrounding AI and the technical readiness required to actually deploy them and actually use them in a proper manner, in proper secure manner, I would say. To be honest, this shift changed everything about what we need from the infrastructure, and when the actuators is autonomous and perform without any kind of human oversight, it raises a significant risk. So in today's webinar, I'll try to cover traditional and agentic AI system from a development and usage perspective. First of all, AI has a potential to cause harm. And let me ground this with a well-known story happening in 2018 with Amazon. They built an AI system to screen job applicants. So the model was trained on about 10 years of historical hiring data. That's, to be honest, sounds reasonable that a decade of this data should give you a solid foundation. Except those that data reflects Amazon existing gender imbalance in technical roles. So the system essentially taught itself to be biased, lowering the score for applicants just for having word women's in their CVs. So here's the thing that makes the story so instructive. The model was technically accurate, and the faithfully learned past hiring patterns. The governance failure was not in the algorithm itself, it was in the data, it was in the process of training. Yeah. So what you'll get at the end, poor data in leads to unexpected results. And that's relevant not just for cases when you are creating or training a new system or retraining or updating the existing ones, but also when you just use it. Quite clear situation when a poor prompt without context will not give you a desired result. Yeah. So to understand why data governance for AI is fundamentally different, let's step back and compare AI to conventional software. In traditional software, it is rules-based approach. Yeah. Developer write explicit instruction, and the topic is actual general logic is deterministic. You can read the code, understand exactly what system will do, debug this code, and what the kind of output it will give you with some kind of input. Machine learning flips this. Instead of hand specifying different patterns to calculate some kind of output, ML system learn pattern from the input. You give the system examples, and examples is actual data that you are using, and it figure out the rules. This approach is incredibly powerful. We all noticed it, but it introduced a dependency. The quality, representativeness, and integrity of your data directly determines the quality of your system behavior. So let me be very direct about this. The model intelligence is strictly limited by the data it consumes. Data should provide a real-world example so the system can identify these patterns that I'm talking about. And algorithm adjusts engines, it calculates, and it's all. The data is the fuel that makes them and that make it works actually. And the data actually represent the source of truth and the state of the world, state of the context for some particular cases. All of this means that data governance for AI is not nice to have exercise, and it's a core engineering requirements right now. If your data is incomplete, biased, or poorly labeled, no amount of different algorithms sophistication will give you the proper result. What types of data I'm talking about here? As I said, I'll try to cover the usage and the implementation itself. So all the data that is used during the AI development lifecycle and usage related to these rules and requires some level of governance. This is training data that used for training different models and parameters, validation data that used for selecting the best instance of the model during the development process, test data that used to check the generalization of the outputs and general model performance. And it is also production data, the real data that will be on the field and how the user will work with your system. The key point here is that training data needs to be as similar as possible to what the model will encounter in the production layer. And it may be difficult because world is changing, and there are known cases about data drift and context drift. Maybe you heard about it, but after the world is continuously changed, and it may be the case when your model is no longer sufficient enough to handle all of these changes in the world. This agentic AI, it getting even worse, I would say. So in traditional AI, and traditional, I mean like predictive, generative cases, anything like this. So data relationship is generally static and straightforward. If you are talking about training process or development, we have some data, we updating this data, change it, maybe adding some labels to better understand. We are using this data for training, deploy the model, monitor the performance of this model. And with the execution pipeline, it's clear as well. So we have some kind of interface. We are using inputs and getting these prompts to the working on production AI instance. It can process and provide you the output. The point here is that the human remains in the loop for the most of the decisions here, and this is very important part of what's the difference between traditional and agentic AI is the decision making and the human in the loop actually. So agentic AI flips almost every one of these assumptions, and data transfer become dynamic, multi-directional, and unbounded. And agent, it often doesn't just consume data. It can discover data sources, different data sources, of course, depend on the system. It can reason across different sources. It takes actions to generate a new data sometimes. Those actions trigger response from other system and other agents. And data pipeline in this case is not linear anymore. And moreover, operates continuously and at machine speed. The most fundamental shift that in the agentic AI system, data directly triggers autonomous actions, and agent reads and acts on the data in the machine speed. And this actually collapses the gap between bad data, bad outcomes to essentially zero. In these cases, there are no human buffer to catch data quality issues or other environment issues, and no time before it becomes a real-world consequence. So let me say that differently. In the first case, bad data mean bad recommendations that human could ignore. In the second case, bad data means bad actions that already been executed before anyone noticed about them. The speed of this process changed everything about how we need to think about its governance. And this is a reason actually why I keep coming back to infrastructure layer and data layer. Right now, the AI community is obsessed with the model capacity, amount of parameters, like can it reason, can it plan, the algorithm smart enough. Those are very important questions, but it's not only the one. And the more pragmatic concern is whether the environment is ready for the agent, and have you prepared the data pipeline so the agent can actually operate within this pipeline and within the speed that desired. This is how the data processing may look like. And just to make it very simple, like two paradigms of the how data can move through the system before from one component to another. There are two main approaches: this batch processing and stream processing. Batch processing, collecting data in some kind of chunks at scheduled intervals. It may be minutes, hours, days, anyway. And it scrapes this data from the different sources and move it to destination with some delay, that's for sure. And such kind of approach works perfectly fine for some of the system, but for other system will require stream processing. And it is another type, and it handles data continuously as it arrives, I would say, so live process. This is what is probably used for activities like sensor monitoring, processing of different analog data, for example, social network activities, tracking, so everything that requires live actions. Most of the system today use a mix of data transfer, but the industry right now is racing toward real-time streaming. And that's because real-time access is the only way to support high-level reasoning and autonomy of the AI agents that everyone expects. The point here is that you need an infrastructure that supports data processing at the pace your agent operates. And this is where the most organization that I was working on hit their first wall, because their core system, like it may be ERP, CRM, like legacy databases or some third-party tools, they were built for human operation speed and not for machine operation speed. So as an example, recently we had a client invested a lot of resources in the state-of-the-art AI model. It was accurate and efficient, but the agent was planned to be integrated with some legacy component that updates once a day at 2 a.m. So you can imagine this is quite typical situation. Most of the tools and solutions that work with a lot amount of data, they are working with a batching technology. They have some updating timelines. So in this case, the model is brilliant. Data is 12 hours old. And the agent is making decision based on the world that no longer exists. Yeah. So this is clear example of how different legacy infrastructure can ruin all the innovations that AI can bring. So here is the statement I want to put in front, and this is the bottleneck for agentic AI is really the AI itself. It is connection of existing infrastructure and the environment where it will be used. So quite often they are different organizations. They are integrated with the legacy system that were built for human workflow, not for autonomous interaction. And in practice, this means fast, reliable, and secure data connection between all components of the system may be under the risks. And this is something that is nice to have from the beginning of the integration, just to not lose the time and money for integration such type of AI systems. So this is an example. I've arranged some abstract levels of the environment readiness. So right now, the most of the organization are stuck at level 1 or 2 while talking about human speed or near real-time data using different APIs. Of course, is human oversight. This is some kind of semi-automation approaches with some more automation, some less automation integrations, but human in the loop remains the same. But this is reduce the general paradigm of using agentic AI. We need to remove human in the loop. Like this is the idea of agentic solutions. And this is mostly to the level 3 or 4, this real-time, almost real-time streaming process and interaction with the real world consequences and real world happenings. So AI agents should know about them, and it needs to get all of this information in the appropriate time and to make a proper solution, to make a proper actions. So moving back to specific data requirements, I'd like to mention 3 main pillars, I would say. This is quality, accessibility, and security of the data. And as I said before, most of these cases related to any kind of data you're using to AI, because data and environment is very important stuff. So what does the quality mean? First of all, it's accuracy. The data that passes through the system should be correct, and because if it's not, you can't really rely on the result. You can predict the result. It should be consistent, like do the different components of the system understand the data in the same manner. And this is a common problem while working with the different components, like third-party integrations on the market. There are a lot of different tools that provide AI-based solution. As I said, if you don't have AI word in your description or in the tool guidelines, this tool will not even be considered in the today's world. So, and all of them like working with the different data formats with a different speed, and what's more important, with the different level of autonomy. So right now it is quite complicated to integrate it into the one holistic system that will be working the pace you are expected. Talking about data quality, I also mentioned here this actuality, like this is particularly important for agentic AI that works on the live environment. The data should be actual to the level that it is expected for the system in general. Also completeness, uniqueness, fairness of the data, all of this related to unbiased and mostly to the training process. Lineage and provenance track. This is exceptional part for the different regulations right now. I will talk about it a bit later. So right now there are a lot of different regulations on the different markets require this tracking the provenance of the data, what data was used for training. Yeah, like all of these versions needs to be stored somewhere. All of them needs to be checked with the integrity controls and unbiased. Talking about the second pillar, this data accessibility, I already talked about it a bit, especially important for agentic solution. So Accessibility determines whether AI component can actually reach the information it needs at the time when it needs and in a form that it actually can be used. As I mentioned previously, agentic AI relies on the hybrid approach for data processing. It may be semi-automated, batching or live processing. This system rarely pull from a single source. They integrate with a different database, APIs, open source solution, even synthetic data sometimes, and a lot more. So in many cases, development teams are not really fully aware about every source their system depends on. This complexity creates some critical challenges like real data availability at the moment of requesting, especially if it is requires some actions to be implemented. It may be override with the human oversight, but in this case, we are losing this level of autonomy and the level of speed that the AI agent provides right now. And you can imagine how complicated it may be in the testing perspective, because just to analyze all of this and define all of possible cases that needs to be checked before the system may be used on production, there are a lot of them. And while using different third-party tools on your projects, on your devices and your products, you may be sure that even these providers of third-party solution, they are not checking all of the cases that you are rely on. So in this perspective, very critical to have some own approach how to properly manage this AI solution and governs this AI solution in your organization. Talking about other critical challenges, of course, this is stable communication flows. Quite often, this data needs an exact moment of time, and you don't know what will happen if this data will not be covered like actual, or it will be corrupted, or it will be not available. As soon as we have a lot of different sources, the actual problem is different protocols and formats, but this in most cases like architecture, technical implementation task. So, and also capability, issues of different components may be significant effect and overall result if there are a lot of different communications, and transparency of the system is required, like to understand different data flows and reason before some actions needs to be tested. And the third pillar, it's data security. The good news here is that we can take a look at it as an isolated system. As an isolated meaning, data security is clear, defined like years ago. So you don't need to create a new wheel here. You can just reuse what is already done, and some base general practice is ensure confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Talking about confidentiality, this ensures that data is visible to only those entities that explicitly authorize to see it. There are different controls already defined in the different guidance, so you can just reuse it. I'm talking about different authorization controls, less privileges access encryptions, classification of the data. Don't use real data on production, on the testing environment as usual, and for different other sources. Integrity means that data remains accurate, consistent, and unaltered through its life cycle, or it may be altered but in controllable manner. So good controls actions here is login, different cryptography control, validation data on the input and the output, a version control of the data, of course, security testing. And of course, availability guarantees that whether AI can call and use this data and this data should be available at the moment when it is necessary. And this is not just about the data itself, but of course for the tools as it used for manage this data and for pulling this data forward. Some obvious controls related to disaster recovery, scalability of different cloud solutions that you are using, incident response, backup mechanism, of course, physical protection and monitoring solution. So to protect all three dimensions in agentic context, there need a comprehensive security architecture, including threat modeling and risk assessment. It's worth to mention that right now there are a lot of different solutions for threat modeling, automation solution, AI augmented. Yeah. Right now this common solution to use for any kind of cybersecurity stuff related to AI, you need to use another AI system because the pace and the speed of exposing different vulnerabilities and creating different vulnerabilities, it is not the same as it was like 5-10 years ago, even a year ago. So in today's world, it's highly recommended to use AI solution to monitor, to manage cybersecurity controls of your existed AI system, of your existed AI augmented devices. So the key insight is that all of this is not a new concept. A lot of this is well-known mechanism applicable for conventional software and for AI system in the same manner. So security professionals have been talking about this for decades, and right now there are a lot of different guidance and ready-to-use solutions that you can use in your development lifecycle in your products. And another aspect I want to raise today is the regulatory landscape. More and more countries and governments are implementing dedicated AI-related regulations like law directives. While it is good for end customer and stakeholders and consumers, it may be a real problem for AI implementers, organizations who actually develop AI solutions. For instance, AI Act, it required comprehensive validation process before the product actually go on the market. Although these regulations entered in force in 2024, the technology is evolving much faster, and it's worth to say that this law does not fully cover, I would say, agentic AI. And it was largely designed for non-autonomous system in mind, but it is only a matter of time, to be honest. While reading different regulations right now, like AI Act, you'll get a lot of controls related to human in the loop, human oversight. Yeah, right now regulators doesn't know how to manage all of this pace and speed of the agentic AI. But the good news is that requirements and controls being introduced are broadly similar across different domains. For example, if you are talking about data transparency and data provenance for AI trainings, they are required for medical devices, for autonomous vehicles, for automotive industry in the same manner. So nothing specifically implemented in different regulations. From a legal perspective, regulators require the same level of controls for both conventional and AI augmented solutions, but verifying that these controls have been met remains challenging for AI, especially for agentic AI. So as it often happens in regulated industries, they have a lot of different controls and they have a lot of different requirements. But at the end, you will need to ensure them that it actually works and you fulfill these requirements. And sometimes really challenging to do because even they sometimes don't know is it enough. to fulfill these requirements or not. It's a bit strange situation, but this is what we have right now here. So if you are working in the highly regulated spheres, be prepared to provide and to defend your solutions with the appropriate documentation and processes that ensure that you are following the instructions. And that's basically it for today. If you'd like to get more information, I prepare some bonus materials on practical AI governance and regulatory readiness. You can just scan these QR codes on the slide. And feel free to reach out directly if you have any questions about it or you need any support with AI implementation and AI governance with different regulations. So let's keep in touch. Thank you for attention.
Thanks, Max. We've got a few questions from the webinar today. The first one is from Yusuf. So, how can we trust AI? Or more high level, why do we trust AI? There's been an explosion in elders of society blindly trusting AI generated content, not to mention simple truths AI always gets wrong. Does a caveat of investing into AI technologies include increasing the general trustworthiness?
And that's a very good question. And the answer, it is inevitable, to be honest. Yeah, that's only my opinion. I would say this is the first thing because this is a rule of the market right now. Everyone is talking about business. Business. This is money, and money is time. But right now, what we see with the AI augmented scenes, I can tell about my sphere. I can tell about different devices that AI augmented. For example, in medical spheres, recognition of the images, for example, to analyze some X-ray images. It takes about seconds to identify some issues on this image, with human health. And the accuracy of this, even right now, it is not the ideal technology, but accuracy is incredible. So you can trust AI, but it is just inevitable when it happens and when it will be in different spheres, augmented directly and adopted. And our main task, like my main task, I would say, as an information security officer at my company, to make it as safe as possible, as secure as possible. It is complicated right now, as usual. It happens with a new technology because it is very hard to find the people who actually understand how even their solution work. It is talking about regulations, they all want to have a transparency. They all want to have a documented solution how it works, but very few people know how it actually works, and the predictions remain challenging. So we are moving in the small steps, just identifying what we are trying to protect. Like, is it sensitive data of our clients, or is it some kind of border logics that not allowed you to do something horrible, for medical device. So this is a small steps, but it is only the beginning, and more we will use it will be much better frameworks, like AI cybersecurity frameworks 1 year ago and right now. There's two absolutely different solutions and two absolutely different technologies, and in a year it will be something absolutely different, more mature, more better. The progress it is provides great, and you can just take it or not take it. That's up to you. Yeah, but this is our world we are living in.
Great, thank you. And then a few more questions. Are there any ready-to-use guidelines or frameworks for secure AI development?
Yeah, as I said, right now there are a lot of them. It depends on the technology you are using. There are some provider-specific. Google has own framework named Google Psych. And if you're using Google products, you can use this framework to, they have a very beautiful map with all of the layers of AI system and what risks can rise each of the layer. You can take a look at it. There are more high-level general frameworks like NIST. Maybe you work with them from cybersecurity guys. They provide like AI risk management framework, NIST AI RMF, and it provides like high-level approach for the risk management of AI. They cover absolutely everything there. What else? Well-known guys from OWASP, they provide their guidance like top 10 for large language model, top 10 for machine learning. Yeah, and this is, to be honest, a very good beginning. If you want to secure your data, if you want to secure your AI, this is a very good beginning of what needs to be done. Yeah.
Great. Also, could you please provide recommendations for security measures that organizations should implement to ensure the safe and secure use of AI?
I would I can show you, not show you, I can tell you what we are using, and we start with the implementation and the proper awareness of the stuff in the company. So first of all, take a look and use these allowed and not allowed tools and recommendation for AI tools, AI agents that you are using. Like it should be open source, not the open source solution, but open source. If you use an open source solution, it needs to be updated, and there should be enough level of maintainers for this open source solution. If you're using like AI solution from a giant organization like Trophic and Google, just check the configuration for your account, for your organization, and do you propose the data that for training or not? And of course, do not use at all sensitive data in your request, in your prompts. That's obvious. I would say that right now it's about 70% of security issues pose from the human itself, and human awareness is the first stage you need to do to properly manage all of this stuff.
Great. And final question is, what regulatory requirements and compliance obligations can organizations expect for AI and agentic AI in the near future?
That's a good question, and to be honest, I don't know. Talking about agentic AI, they don't know how to properly manage all of these regulations. What I know that's for sure, that all of these requirements from different governance become tighter and tighter. So it reduced the overall and general progress on the implementation of AI, but it will be another level to get your product, the augmented product, on the market. So I would say the first solution will be the proper management, proper governance of the AI system. So similar that we did previously for software development lifecycle, like established agile, all of these processes, and properly manage all of these activities. Something similar will be implemented. It's already implemented for AI as well. So different stages, and each of the stage like training, development, testing, and monitoring, all of this stage will require additional level of controls and proper documentations.
Great, thank you. I think that's everything now.
Great. Thank you very much for your attention. And I hope it was interesting, and looking forward to see you on the next our webinar. Have a great day.
Great, thank you.